Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is the first introductory lecture for an online course on how to launch an Islamic revival consisting of 9 lectures. In this first lecture, we will just set out the problems that we wish to address. The central question of these lectures can be simply stated as follows: that Allah Ta'ala revealed His final message, complete and perfect, to mankind 14 centuries ago. And this message launched a revolution in history and took the Ummah from depths of darkness to the light. And the civilization enlightened the world for 1,000 years. Today, once again, the world is wrapped in darkness and ignorance. So does this message have the same power today that it did 14 centuries ago? For any Muslim, it is a requirement of faith to say that yes, of course it does. Knowledge plays a central role in the teachings of Islam. Adam alayhi salam was given knowledge, and then the angels were asked to make sajda to him. The very first revelation to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, God introduces himself as a teacher who taught by the pen, and he taught man that which he did not know. So the first revelation tells us about a revolutionary knowledge which is to be given to mankind. And so the question is, what is that knowledge? The last revelation given to Prophet Muhammad mentions the completion of the knowledge. The process took the whole period of his prophethood, and ultimately the deen was completed and perfected. The historical record shows that it was a very powerful knowledge. It took ignorant and backwards Bedouin and made them into world leaders. These were the people who were burying their daughters alive, and they became sensitive to the pain and suffering of animals and birds. Historians have noted that the Islamic civilization came closest to uniting all of mankind under the highest ideals open to man. And there were massive advances made in all fields of knowledge under the Muslim civilization. And human beings learned a very advanced set of values. If you just compare the behavior of the Crusaders with the extremely civilized behavior of Salahuddin, you get Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, you get a comparison of the highly civilized behavior displayed by Salahuddin. So it is now the greatest mystery of human history. What happened to this civilization which was on the verge of conquering the whole planet, and now it is completely in darkness and despair? Once we were far ahead of everybody, and now we are far behind everybody. If the Quran is complete and perfect guidance, why are the Muslims at the bottom of the heap? How did the Europeans rise to the global dominance without benefit from this message? Allah Ta'ala promises us victory over the enemies of Islam, but over the past 3 centuries, Muslims have been losing all the major battles to the West. Many thinkers and writers have noted the stark contrast between the glorious past of the Muslims and the miserable present of the Muslims. The Islamic religion gave us the highest ideals that are known today. And these ideals influenced the development of all civilizations on this planet. But today, those who gave the treasures of civilization to the entire world are themselves poor and in need. It is our belief, explicitly written in the Quran, that the treasure of knowledge which has been given to us is superior to anything that anyone else might gather. But our eyes show a different picture. Allah Ta'ala promises us that He will take the believers from darkness to light, and those who don't believe, they will be removed from the light and put into the darkness. But today, our eyes show an entirely different picture. Who is in darkness and who is in light? We are confronted with a severe test of the faith, like the ones promised at the end of the times, where only God can create life and death, but the Dajjal will create life and death and say that he is God, and it will. And today the Quran says that it is complete and perfect, but today it seems to our eyes that we need maths, physics, chemistry, biology, which is not part of the Quran. All the things that the Ummah needs are part of the intellectual heritage of the West, but not part of our own intellectual tradition. So it seems that our eyes show us that our religion is not complete. Today, our intellectuals, Islamic economists, find many places where the Quran is in conflict with the teachings of modern economics. So, for example, the early Islamic economists said that the principle is fadlullah, the bounty of Allah, but economics says that it's scarcity. So, accordingly, the Muslim economists adopted the principle of scarcity and abandoned the principle of abundance of the Quran. So, it seems that the Quran is not even perfect. The Quran tells us that what we have been given is better than all that they can gather. But today, when we look at all of the problems of the world, we find that the Western approaches are being used to solve them, and the Muslims are not contributing anything to this major problems facing humanity today. This creates a major challenge for our faith because we are required to believe in the ghaib, the unseen. And so the evidence that we have for our faith, for our trust in Allah, is also unseen, whereas all of what the world shows us is like the fire of Ibrahim, that it seems like it is going to burn us, and we have no support, we have no power to prevent this destruction and death facing the Muslims. So this course is entirely about how we can resolve this conflict between our heart, which tells us of the truth of Islam, and our heads, which show us the failure of Islamic teachings in guiding the Islamic civilization. In this first lecture, we have just set out the challenges which are facing the believers today. We have just listed the questions. We have not provided any hint of the answers. And in fact, the answers are quite complicated and require a large amount of groundwork to prepare. We have 9 lectures with a detailed discussion of many of the issues that arise when we try to solve these puzzles. The first lecture is linked here in full.